meeting of August 18th to order. At this time, I'd like roll call, please.
Kenneth Rowland.
Here.
Gene Fuller.
Here.
Robert Knabe. Jake Dye.
Here.
Ronald Ludwig.
Here.
Harry Wahlberg.
Here.
Jeffrey D'Amico.
Here.
Okay, please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any announcements? Anybody? No? Okay. The next meeting of the committee will be on Monday, September the 15th. Does anyone know that they will not be attending? Okay, Gene, anyone else? Okay. All right. Anyone wishing to address the committee on a subject other than what's in the agenda, now is the time for that to take place. If you do speak, please state your name for the record. You have a maximum of 3 minutes. One? No? Okay. The minutes of the July 21st meeting have been circulated. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I have a motion.
Move they be approved.
Second. Jake Dye.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of the July meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, time for the reports. Finance report.
Are we on? You here? Okay, I'll scoot it forward some. Let me get it scrolled down to these and pop them up behind you. So the first agenda item here is the maintenance expenditure report. Any questions with this guy?
Seeing none?
Nope.
Budget utilization.
1 second, I'll get out of this one. Okay, on the budget utilization report. I have nothing that stands out to me on these reports here. Last meeting you guys presented for a little report back. You recall that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Our finance and procurement is swamped and they're asking to get that moved, and October would be a better date for us. But I do have some answers for you from our end of Canal Maintenance, if that's acceptable.
Okay. Is that all right with everyone?
Yep. I won't particularly follow in that order, but for one on was the total paid to contractors in the Hurricane Ian project. So roughly that number should be right around that 18. It's not in here though. I have 17 in my notes here, 17.5, but we just paid an app 731, so may not have caught it through the procurement process for entering. So when I pulled these reports, probably wasn't in this part of it. But I'll have it for the September one for sure.
Okay.
So that's approximately material costs excluding city staff costs for building panels, okay? And then you have the federal disaster relief, which is it's at 37,717, second one down. And this is an estimated amount brought forward from the fiscal year past, so 24 into 25. And then estimated for both Hurricane Ian projects for the seawall itself, all expenditures there, along with the Irma and Ian riprap. So that's a combined of 3 items there. That's why you're seeing an estimated amount so high and then questioning it. So those portions of estimates from original project of Irma with the riprap are in this, along with the Ian amounts, both for seawall and riprap. And then when you get to your next question with overall general right there at 34, well now it's like 32,023 balance. About the 1, 2, 3, 6 one up from the bottom on the right. These are the loan funds for the continuation of the Hurricane Ian projects. So the estimated Hurricane Ian riprap mitigation and the Hurricane Ian or Irma riprap funds are transferred from the general fund to the canal maintenance fund as they are spent. So it's combined even with the canal maintenance revenue or expenses. And then I have some additional to your questions here. Just bear with me. I'll go through, I kind of got them in a format, but what we can answer on canal maintenance side for public works for you. The others need to come from procurement or finance, which our planning spoke with Teresa to come down October and give that presentation so you'd have a good overview of the whole side of it.
Okay.
On the finance side, but I'll go through the first set of questions. So I'm at number 3, which is your question related to what work has been accomplished thus far for hurricane-related repairs. PGI zone had 6 zones in it, PGI alone, so we completed 2 of those zones. Are completing, still working on 4 actively. Now, 2 of them are pretty close to being wrapped up. Southeast has 1 remaining, which should be done in September. You know, it was postponed because of contact with homeowner. So we needed boat moved, we needed to get some trimming done, needed to move all the utilities, so that was a scheduling, and it was a bad contact for like 4 months. It was horrible. So when we got contact with them, we set a date. We'll get a barge in there and finish Southeast. That should be in September. So that would put us at 3 remaining, which the Northeast 2 is a shorter one. I think there's 6 or 7 till we get there left to do in that zone. So I would perceive in about, another quarter of that, good 4 months, we get through that. So by first of the year, you'll have 4 down and 2 to go of the 6 zones, okay, for PGI alone. We're estimating at roughly 7,000 linear feet after the last pay app, so moving forward from, what are we, mid-August now, so you're in that 7,000 almost, but it's below 8,000 linear feet left to go. So that's where your update is there. How much has the cost of the city in terms of dollars and labor? Well, labor hours affect a handful of staff in canal maintenance, engineering, finance, and procurement. So we all have our hands in it. So it's a hard number to lay down and get it unless it comes through. Probably could be even payroll involved in this to know your counted hours when it's Ian related kind of project work. So I know I fill out a form. So do our inspectors and anybody when we're doing staff on building the seawalls. So that's staff time there on canal maintenance that I could get a number for you down the road, but it is it's part of our daily activity. So if it isn't, half the day, it's at least 7 of it. So there's 4+ into it per day. And now that the city took over from Weiler Engineering, we got the inspection side of things and making sure it's being built to engineering specs now. That's added workload too, so we're pretty much 8 hours a day focused on this, besides our general maintenance items. So the inspectors are for sure. We bumped up to that second one, so that's a bonus. And then I'm 6 hours plus just with the Ian stuff, so other few hours dealing with other internal stuff. So that's where we're at on that one. Then I go to question per hurricane event. I can only comment on Ian and Helene and Milton, a little bit on Irma. You had some questions with it on what was submitted to FEMA, what have we received from FEMA. what are we budgeting to spend, those kind of items. That could be more finance to break that out and down for you, but as canal maintenance, Hurricane Irma, sorry, was a pending item to finish up as the riprap mitigation. Okay, so that's what's hanging out there, and that will get started. Funds kicked in for us to start that contract with that contractor once the Ian seawall repairs are complete. So we've been pushing that each year and year. So that's that allotted amount. Now keep in mind, that's 2018, 19 numbers. So don't know if we'll get current times money value, but we may still be stuck around that. I think it's 8 million. Is that close? 8 million for the mitigation of riprap. And that big number I presented earlier. When it comes to Hurricane Ian, there's pending repairs to get completed. And just PGI, we're sitting at the 4 zones. So overall project with an estimated using costs from original seawall replacements. So them costs were driven from the Irma project and then implemented to these dollars to get that amount. Estimated amount brought forward fiscal year 24 and 25, 37,717,805, which is your second number down. And the federal disaster relief funding. When it comes to Helene and Milton, there was other infrastructure damages throughout the city. The seawall impact was very minimal, if none at all. I mean, it's depressions, sinkholes, is from the flooding and then pullback, and it just, you want to call it absorption, or some of the soils kind of sunk down in that, so we had a lot of we went through a lot of moral shell material backfilling. So that's where a lot of that work was. We didn't notice additional cracking or tearing with the walls, so that's promising. So that's where we're with the update for that one. The really impact to us was dealing with navigational. So we just completed that repair here last month, so all the inlets are in good shape now with all the side channel, Bass Inlet, Gilcrest or the boat landing kind of area, those 3. Pompano was, I think there was just one sign, so it was mainly out on this front, heading back over to Ponce. The other side of Fisherman's Village there. Let's see. The only other one I have regarding canal repair and maintenance contracts. So the process whereby invoices get paid, conditions for payment, full project completion, installation. So invoices are for work in place or completed work per location in a given zone. So contractor, say it's an 80-foot, he just sets walls. We'll get that bid item right there, walls set. So if it was 10 or 12 and a half, that's a work in place work. So we get that and we bill that out to them, and that's paid monthly for them in a worksheet. So regularly paid out each month as we receive the contractor invoices. The work site specific for payment to zone location. Example, you could have payment is made in full for work completed per bid items in a contract for a given site scope of work needs. So all within that work, and from the bid item piece to the type of work they're doing into the work and the WIP we call it, or the work in place, sorry. So long-winded there, then short, that's what I got from canal maintenance for you. But we will bring a lot of these questions forward to you in a couple months if we get that okay with you. More from the procurement. Finance will do a presentation for you. We got that lined up.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
No, okay.
So moving on to our, which one is it again?
Budget utilization.
Yep, thank you. Get it up here, sorry. Okay, so any questions you have here for this one?
Anyone have any questions?
No.
Oh,
So
yes.
you're saying that no work at all has started on anything except for Ian or other hurricane repairs. So I mean, the seawall replacement still year-to-date is 0. Right?
Correct, because the billing wasn't processed enough. Swan is complete, or our first site, so we'll have that in for your September one to read. It just was getting processed around this beginning of this week, or last week, I mean, 12th, 13th. And then, so they're kind of a week behind, and then it gets distributed out to them mid-month and that. So we'll have that knocked down to that first one, and then the second one will be coming in that month in September. So, we do have mangrove trimming contract on board. I made it in the notes there below this, this graph. And been, signed the SOWs for him, scope of work, and gave him the exhibits, so I didn't get where he's gonna start on the 6 exhibit areas, I believe it is. So he had 2 in BSI and 6 or 7 here in PGI to complete. So he's got the SOWs and signed, and hope to start, if not the end of this week, for sure on Monday. So we'll get rolling on those, which is promising. A little wait in the process, but he's finishing up BSI, the perimeter, and he's got a couple days there. So just found out this morning from him.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions on this? Okay. Seawall replacement status.
Thank you. So I just distributed to you guys the graph here. So 7:15, I just got one on Friday from Gary, so I didn't include. That's the one I did for the handout. So you ignore the one in the packet and let's go to the handout. Numbers are a little better. So you got the reflection of all from the meeting minutes that we have with MCG, the contractor. So in phase 1, there's phase 1, phase 2 in this contract because of one contractor finishing out Northeast 1 and then the other one being let go and MCG assuming their workload. So phase 1, you got, of course, the BSI complete, you got Northwest 1 to do, and Southeast has 1 site to go. So they're up there at that 84%, 85-ish. Probably, I think, be on target with that one, moving along pretty good. Just got the one and a large one there, Northwest 1 to get complete. And then when you look at PGI overall for the 6 zones, the project itself is at 70% complete. Your next page. And of course, the blue's the work line and the orange on top is their progress, time used to get this work accomplished. So when they were ahead of schedule of the dotted line and then dipping down below, not on the schedule. And then our last page will focus on the phase 2 part, which is, they have 3 zones in that one, which are, like I said, Northeast 2 is pretty light. Get to that page I distributed to you. There's letters, so we're at 1, 2, 3. I guess 8 sites. They're working on Windward. They haven't gone to Don Juan, right? I'm just looking at my inspector here. Not on to Don Juan. For walls are being set on Don Juan. So 1, 2, 3. Now you're down to 7. I was pretty close from the initial. 7 sites there, Northwest 2 and then Southwest zone to complete there. And they're at basically 38% as of 8/17, and their times, they're ahead with that. They did a little jump up from the dotted line, so above it instead of below it on the blue, so that's promising. Let's hope it continues. So production is starting to pick up, if the graph says so. That's kind of my report there. If you had any questions on zone work or Okay. Then we'll jump into the general maintenance one, which is our seawall one for the city with the little blue on it. I think Gene brought up earlier where we were at in the payment, but we got one complete, so the C's there as all paid through. Working on the second one there with the severe. It's on the backfill stage. All backfill? Okay. So all the way from all the Casey Key to USEPA on that other end is 180, 178? Yeah, 180 feet. So that one's all backfill and doing a leveling and grading, and then we'll get the sod, and then that'll close that one out. So it should end the end of this month. Everything pending and get the pay out for the beginning of September. And then third site, we did make the change. I know it says low there, but it'd be Osprey. Heading to that. And that's a long one. Yes, Gene?
A question on Gene Fuller, on the first two there, Swan Court and Casey Key. Were these bad before Ian, or have they failed since Ian?
They failed since Ian, before all the inspection and that, they failed during the Ian process was going on, so after it, yeah.
But they aren't included as part of the hurricane recovery?
Not in Ian, yeah. Right? Well, Spectre would like to add a little bit more.
Julio Gayton for the record. Those two seawalls were on our maintenance program prior to Ian, but that's why they were not included in the Ian recovery, because they were on the maintenance program prior. So, but that's why they were.
Were they already severe?
No, sir. They were not rated as severe, but when they failed, they became a severe because they were severe failures.
So they failed since Ian.
Yes, sir.
And then they failed that. Okay.
That helps.
Yeah, thank you. Are we going from this at the end, Brian, or go through?
Okay. These are the permits that were approved by the city staff. Any questions on those? Seeing none.
Done.
Capital improvement.
All right, let me get caught up here. Sorry, I'll get this caught up. All right, so just one 8.4 status update there is that our, if you want to call it engineering form person reached out to the state rep, and again, and no answer received. So we held a meeting last week and had a short discussion and involving the spoil site and trying to get our state rep on board to get to the governor's office with the spoil site. What we're looking at is from you guys confirmation, very important. And we're gonna get it to city council on the 27th and get their blessing to push on this issue with the state rep Rowe or whatever, and get it to the governor's office seat right away with pressure. So our engineering firms wrote a letter up, and to get your consensus to move forward with that would be appreciated.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand what you're asking. You would like this committee to discuss taking this to the city council? Is that what you're asking?
Get your blessing that this goes in front of city council with your support of the spoil project to move forward with.
Okay.
Brian Clemens, Public Works. What we're looking for is your consensus to support that letter. We'll also be taking it to City Council.
I see. Okay. Any questions or anybody wants to say anything about this?
Harry Wahlberg, the only comment is, I guess we need help right now because this thing's not moving at all. So
Yes,
if it's city council that has to get a letter to the state or to the governor, something has to be done for sure.
agree. That's why we're trying to give some punch to it, yes.
Harry?
Gene Fuller, I
Gene.
move that we support this request to go forward with the city council.
Harry Wahlberg, second motion.
Any discussion? I certainly don't think that any one of us is going to be opposed to doing that.
Ken Rollin, is the same situation going to affect the master permit agreement? Looks like there's-
We have no status in the master. So all those are in with the DEP and
Actually, it
the
looks like
Army
this is a
Corps. All the
copy.
permits are set for. It just got copied the same into the master one because that one should be dropped out, sorry, from the mastering because there's no active permits
Right.
for it because DEP's already in and Army Corps is in. We just had the state that denied us this parks, which DEP sat on for 6 months before we found out. So we want to get the pressure back to them. That's no master permitting for this one. We're moving forward on those. Those are all good.
Okay. All right, we've had a motion and a second to indicate that this committee is in favor of canal maintenance going to the city council and asking them to exert pressure on the state rep and the governor.
Great. Thanks, Ron. All right. And staff. Thanks.
We need to vote on that?
I don't think we need to vote for
I think he
this
just
consensus,
seconded,
right?
Okay.
Do we?
Alex, are we good on the consensus with the?
They
Yeah.
voted anyway, so.
Yeah, I thought Gene said
Okay.
second. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
I
All
can
in
withdraw the
favor?
motion if it needs
No,
to
no,
be.
that's right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Okay. Thanks, gentlemen.
Okay. So there isn't anything that you need to report on as far as
No,
the
we have a
master permit?
copy of a pre-draft letter, so we'll review it internally
Uh-huh.
and then get that in front of council,
Okay.
and then that'll be,
And that would be for, you said July 27th?
no, August 27th.
I mean, August 27th, yeah.
Don't go backwards.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next item is special permit CCSP 224. Is that what this?
You need to swear.
I'll swear in
Is
everybody
it on-
before we get going. Anyone intending to provide testimony in today's proceedings, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Tom Macy, Public Works. This is for CCSP 0224. I would like to introduce application number CCSP 022-2024 by Kiesling Construction on behalf of the owner Condominium Association of Tarpon Cove Incorporated at TCV 0000000 COM, which is COMM, also identified as 180 Hibiscus Drive. The petitioner, Michael Penley of 141 Tropicana Drive. The applicant is proposing to install a boat lift in a condominium-controlled communal area. The reason for the special permit application is due to two boat lift pilings and a portion of the boat lift being outside the structure limitation lines. It should also be noted that the proposed lift will also utilize an existing piling that is outside the structure limitation lines. Based on staff's review of the applicant per Article 2, Section 2-1E for favorable consideration is recommended. And then we can turn it over to Keesling Construction for Jake Dye.
Jake Dye, Keesling Construction. I have been sworn in, and for the record, I removed myself from the dais. So this project is anything but cut and dry. We've had a lot of issues with it over the more than a year, and the biggest issue that we've had with it is that that the structure, all of the structure that exists right now is actually outside the structural limitation line. It was constructed that way. I don't know that we ever really figured out how or why, but it was. And the property owner wants to be able to put a lift in that end slip. None of the structure would be any different than all the rest of the structure that already exists, except that everything is outside the structure limitation. Well, not everything, but the bulk of the structure that's already there is outside the structural limitation line. He just wants to be able to put his lift in at the same as everybody else. Plus, the end piling was originally put in all of those slips. In fact, the piling spacing was put in those slips deliberately for boat lifts. And in fact, they're longer pilings. They were installed to support a boat lift. So he wants to be able to take advantage of that end piling for the lift, and then he would put in the rest of the pilings.
Does anyone have any questions? Gene?
Gene Fuller. If I look at these drawings, which may or may not be accurate, it looks like this lift is quite a bit bigger than the other ones next to it.
It's not.
It's not.
They're all the same.
I mean,
they're
it
the
just
same
seems
size. Yeah, I don't know
stretched
why
out
that
longer
would
than-
look different, but
The other ones may be just
Well,
a
the
sketch.
ones-
They're not really accurate. I don't know. I mean, it comes closer to shore and...
yeah, the bottom line, that's a standard size lift that's going in there.
Well, it's clear the other ones are kind of sketches. They're not really engineering drawings, but...
Yeah, and if you look, the pilings are separate, and they're in fact they're shared pilings. I think also mentioned in the staff's comments too, the fact that that entire basin is actually controlled by or the majority of that space is actually controlled by the condo association itself, and it's a pretty big basin.
Ron Ludwig, looking at the pictures that are included in this, it looks as though the boat is already there. Is that correct? And in the water?
No, that's just they used the county's GIS, and there was a boat tied there when the satellite picked it up, so it shows it on there.
Okay, so
But it does show that no matter what you would put in there, that the boat on the left wouldn't extend as far as that boat is depicted on the overhead.
that was my question. It appeared to be much larger boat than the rest of the condominiums or the lifts that were there. And I was just I was just thinking about, the navigation and obstructions and such.
I
Brian-
saw that too. It looked like a 35-foot boat.
Brian Clemens, Public Works. And just for the record, I know that Mr. Dye talked about the condo controlling that basin. I want to be clear that they do not control that basin. That was one of the issues with this permit. If you look on CCGIS, it looks like they own that, own into the water. They do not. That's, the lines that are shown are condo lines, not actual plat lines. So that's been some of the confusion with this project.
Harry Wilbur, do any of these diagrams, I don't have hard copy of the diagram, so do any of these diagrams show us what the navigational lines are in the lagoon?
Well, if you're talking about the navigable channel,
Yes.
it is far out. You can, if you look, can you see where my cursor is circling?
Yes.
That runs way on out. Let's see. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay, better diagram, thank you.
Gene Fuller, there's no question the basin is very large, and that I wouldn't expect any navigational problems within the basin. My primary question is the issue of that 45-degree on the end of the property. I mean, that's a perennial issue that we have with all of these things. Is there any issue with the next door neighbor? Does the person personally have have a boat, or? No, the next door neighbor, anybody.
No one has raised any questions about it, and if you look, there's more than 35 feet in between the dock area, so that's a pretty generous amount of space that's in there. When you look at the amount of open area and the ability to be able to navigate in and out, it shouldn't be an issue for anybody. You certainly wouldn't have that much room if you went into a marina.
No, I agree.
Ken Rowland, what is the space along that shoreline to the, I guess if you're looking at the site on the right-hand side that extends to where the other docks begin? Is that like a common dock or something?
Oh.
Maybe you could point at the
Actually,
screen.
Yeah.
there's slips in
This
there.
area here.
There's that's already there are slips down there. They're not shown on here, but there are slips in there.
Can I add?
But
Do it.
yeah, you've already been sworn in, right?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Dan Rhoda. I'm president of the condo association there. And that questionable that you were asking about, is it 35, and it's a private dock that's been built in accordance with the guidance or the guidelines, and that there is no real navigational problem. Our standard is 14 feet. There have been a few that have been permitted for a wider boat, and that was based on early on, approximately 10 to 15 years prior to, with other board and other personnel here at the city. And there's been no objection within the condo association for approval, and Mr. Penley has been following the guidelines for approval, and we are here today because of that. And so there's really no objection, no navigable problems. The neighbor associated dock there is comes in from the north, and there's no egress or exiting problems with that, so that he would not be impaired in any way with the access to that pier, nor the one that's being applied for.
Okay.
Does that help any?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions? No? No? Okay. if I remember, I'm supposed to do this. Anyone else wishing to speak on CCSP 02-2024? Anyone else would like to speak on CCSP 02-2024? Anyone else who would like to speak on special permit CCSP 02-2024? Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Gene Fuller, I move we close the public hearing.
We have a second?
Second. Ken Rollins, second.
Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
We need to approve that, right?
Yeah, we have to make a motion to approve or
We have to close
reject.
the discussion.
Oh, so there's no discussion? Discussion is closed. Okay, do we have a,
You have to have a vote for the,
We have to
Right.
vote to close the
Yes.
discussion.
oh, we have to vote to close the discussion?
Yes.
May I have a motion to
We
close?
already got the motions.
All right.
yeah,
All
the
in
motion
favor?
has been made and seconded. We just need a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Okay, do we have a motion?
This is Gene Fuller. I move the permit be approved.
Second. Ken Rollins, second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. All right, general business.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, Jake Dye, I've returned to the dais.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a discussion on the boat covers, or boat lift canopies.
So Alex Friend, board recorder for the record, the clerk's office did want to inform you all that we just drew these materials together based off of your prior request. Staff has not prepared any type of formal presentations other than just providing the raw information. So if it's a discussion you'd like to further on, we can definitely add that to a future agenda, but the point of this item today was just to provide you those materials you requested.
Gotcha. Okay. Do we have any questions or any additional information that we want to ask for concerning the canopy discussion based on what we saw that was given to city manager? Hearing none. Staff comments? None? And do we have any additional member comments? Whoop, hang on.
So just kind of informative, probably at the upcoming, the next meeting there, and for the record, Brian Clemens, Public Works. There has been some questions lately about looking at our seawall materials again. So whether we want to have that studied again. So there'll be something more coming next meeting, I expect.
I have a question I was going to ask later, but there's been talk about how we could save $17 million by switching rebar, which sounds outrageously stupid, but is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
that's one of the items.
Jake?
Yeah, Jake Dye. Also, we had a pretty comprehensive study done, not all.
2021.
Yeah, so I'm sure we will be able to see that again.
Harry Wahlberg, the rebar they're talking about that we can save $17 million on is a fiberglass reinforced rebar versus a cobalt rebar, a black rebar. Is that what they're talking about?
It is fiber reinforced, a fiberglass rebar,
And the
versus
study-
our high chromium
Okay.
rebar.
And the study performed in 2021 came back and said that the black rebar, cobalt, was the best way to go at this point in time.
At that point in time.
Yeah,
Fiber was not in that study, I can tell you that.
right. But the life expectancy of cobalt or black rebar is 25 to 35 years.
I
fib-
think it's around 70.
70, and the fiber is it doesn't. Everything I read doesn't tell you. It says it's fiberglass back, but it doesn't give you a lifespan of the rebar itself. So we're talking 70 years versus 100 years, or
That's what the study would tell us.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, any other member comments?
So how does this end? Do we end up voting on whether we want to move this forward ourselves, or
What's that?
the lift covers? I'm still a little confused on what our role is here.
Now that staff has provided you guys the information, would you like to hold an additional discussion on the item to see if you have a recommendation for council?
were you open for discussion, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry Wahlberg. I'd just like to make a few comments. I guess at our last meeting, we discussed this, and we're rehashing stuff we've gone through since 2019, 2020, 2021. Reading through all the minutes that were provided to us, it seems like the consensus of opinion, or at least the general opinion, was staff was not in agreement with canopies, permanently fixed canopies. Staff and council and advisory committees were in agreement for the assisted mooring covers, but everything I read was nobody, especially at city council, they would not approve this permanent structure called a canopy, or a fixed structure that was higher than the lift, higher than the boat, that had flexible covers that could blow away, et cetera, et cetera. So I personally, my opinion is I don't know why we're doing this again. It's been knocked down numerous times by numerous different organizations and committees. And do we really want to push this forward again?
Comment, Gene?
Gene Fuller. I read through all of the 6-year-old minutes and so on. I was completely unconvinced that there was really anything in there relevant to today. I mean, there were no conclusions reached, and it appears that the city council and other people were not in favor of it, and I didn't see anything in there that really added very much to our discussion, frankly. I mean, my own view is that I don't think it would be a good idea. My next door neighbor put in one of these articulating covers, took his boat and put it on shore and left for the summer. The thing is sitting up there in the air like a giant rat trap ready to spring. I mean, it's up 15 feet in the air, you know, this crazy thing. And I think they're supposed to be put down, but anyhow, these canopies, in my view, are going to be even worse. I mean, they're just going to be all over the place, and as soon as you get the slightest windstorm, they're all over.
Yeah. Jake?
Jake Dye, I think we're missing a lot of information right here. I mean, we've got some history of this as it's come before city council in the past, but I think we're missing an awful lot of information about what specifically would be proposed, how would it be installed. I'd be very interested in the staff's comments on it, because it certainly is going to affect them. So I'm not sure why we would put ourselves in a position to take to move forward with this when we just don't have enough information to really look at it. Yeah, people want to have boat covers, but what is that going to be? What's the? I don't think it's our position to define the parameters of what these boat covers are supposed to be. And so far, I haven't seen anything that gives any kind of a specific proposal for it.
Any other comments?
This is Gene Fuller. Yeah, I agree with what was just said, in that anything going forward would have to have, vendor independent rules about height, width, all those kind of things. And if somebody wants to put together something like that, then it can be considered. But right now, it's just kind of open-ended. I mean, the presentation that was made in April, I wasn't here, but I read through it all, appeared to be for one very specific brand and style and so on, which we'd never go forward and permit just that one brand and style.
Sure.
So if somebody's really interested in this, they're going to have to come forward with a whole lot more details of what the restrictions might be, the sizes and heights and all that kind of thing. Materials.
Jake?
Yeah, Jake, I think we ought to keep an open mind to this. There are advantages, and there are, it's likely that there could be a proposal that something could be installed that would be acceptable to the community, but we don't know what that is. We don't know any proposal at all, and I think we ought to keep an open mind to something that might be presented in the future, but we haven't seen anything yet.
As I recall from the initial presentation, we were being asked by a few folks to recommend to City Council that the ordinance be, or the restriction be removed from Chapter 6. My personal feeling is that it should remain myself, but we as a committee have got to decide: do we want to make a recommendation to City Council to consider again, or should we just say it's not in our purview?
If punting is an option, then I recommend that.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's premature for us to make a recommendation to City Council. There's not enough stuff on the table right now.
Exactly.
I just go back to our last prior session when staff said this, the way they were looking at it, this is going to be a detriment to doing work on the docks, a detriment when you have to move boats around and everything else. And so we don't have enough details in place to say, is it really going to be that detrimental for canal maintenance? Is it not going to be detrimental? What's the quality of the product we're talking about?
You know, Ms. Jean Fuller, it strikes me that this is beyond our normal purview. I mean, we're looking for special permits, you know, whether two boats are going to interfere at the end of a canal and things like that. This is a major big deal, and it's going to be hugely controversial no matter what happens. And frankly, it appears to me that this is something the City Council can decide to do or not do without our recommendation one way or the other.
Right. I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah. So, Jake, I can see our involvement in this at some point down the road. When something specific is presented, then I think we would likely be in a position where we could weigh in on it. But right now, I don't see that anything has been presented where would deserve a comment by us. The other part of this is there was a lot of deliberate effort to establish Chapter 6 with this restriction, and that was in there for a reason. And until we see something that says that restriction is inappropriate, then I don't think we have a dog in the fight.
I want to ask Ken Rowland, I'd like to ask the other members of the committee, have you guys ever boated in South Gulf Cove?
I have extensive experience in South Gulf Cove, and I have extensive experience over in Port Charlotte. So that influences some of my thinking, but it can also influence your thinking in a couple of, in different directions too.
Right.
Clearly, I've seen boat lift covers, canopies that look great, and then seen a lot of disasters.
Do you remember the one on the main canal in there where there's a deck up top?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean
Lots of places in Florida that's allowed.
Oh yeah, but
obviously over there it is too.
oh yeah, I don't know what rules they're operating under, but there's some pretty impressive construction, and I just personally I'm having trouble visualizing a row of those ending up lining the canals. It just, the aesthetics of it are just really, why did we buy this?
Yeah, this
When
kind
did
of
we
takes us
move it?
back to that, we just don't know enough yet to
Yeah.
be able to get into this conversation.
Okay, I think the consensus is this committee is not going,
Punt.
is not going to make a recommendation, one way or the other. Okay,
Correct.
anything else? If there's nothing else, let's call this meeting over.
Thank you.